The courtroom was so quiet you could hear the ticking of the old clock on the wall. Every seat was filled, yet no one dared to move. It wasn't just another sentencing day. Everyone knew something extraordinary was about to happen. At the front of the room, a mother clutched a folded piece of paper in trembling hands. Her son was gone, killed in a senseless crash, and this was her only chance to speak. Reporters whispered that her words could change the entire tone of the trial. Even the judge, known for his iron composure, leaned forward with an uncharacteristic unease. No one knew what she was going to say. Some expected rage. Others expected silence. But when she finally stood, her voice cracked with a pain so raw that it froze everyone in place. What came next would leave the defendant in tears, the courtroom stunned, and the judge, yes, even the judge, unable to hold back his own emotions. Her name was Rebecca Monroe. To most people in town, she was just another mother, living a quiet life in the suburbs. But to those who knew her, she was a woman of deep love and resilience, a woman whose world had been shattered in a single night. Her son, Marcus, was just 19, a college freshman, full of dreams, with a laugh that could fill a room. He wanted to be a teacher, to help kids who felt overlooked and invisible. But all of that was ripped away one spring evening when a drunk driver ran a red light and slammed into his car. The driver, Daniel Rivers, walked away with only scratches. Marcus never came home. For nearly a year, Rebecca had to sit through court hearings evidence and the cold details of her son's final moments. Every day felt like living the nightmare again. And now, finally, it was sentencing day. When the judge called her name, Rebecca rose from her seat slowly, her knees almost buckling. The folded piece of paper shook in her hands. Some wondered if she would even be able to read her statement. As she reached the podium, the silence deepened. The defendant sat just a few feet away, his head lowered, his face hidden. Cameras clicked from the back of the courtroom, and the jury, though dismissed, remained in their seats, unable to look away. Rebecca unfolded the paper. Her hands trembled, but when she began to speak, her words carried through the room with heartbreaking clarity. "Marcus wasn't just my son," she began, her voice trembling. "He was my best friend, my reason to wake up in the morning." He had this laugh, loud and contagious, the kind of laugh that could change a room. He wanted to be a teacher. He wanted to make kids feel seen, because he knew what it was like to feel invisible. She paused, clutching the paper tighter. But he never got that chance, because of one night, one choice. The entire courtroom held its breath. "I had to bury my child," she continued, her voice breaking. "Do you know what it's like to pick out a casket instead of graduation suit? To walk past his empty bedroom every single day? To explain to his little cousins why he's never coming back? That's the sentence I live with. Every single day." Gasps rippled through the gallery. Some people bowed their heads. Others quietly wiped their eyes. But Rebecca wasn't finished. She turned then, not to the judge, not to the cameras, but directly to Daniel Rivers. "You took my baby from me," she said softly, tears streaming down her cheeks. "But I will not let your mistake take the rest of my life too. I choose not to hate you. Because if I do, I'll lose what's left of Marcus inside me. I forgive you, not for you, but for me, and for him." The courtroom fell silent. The defendant, Daniel Rivers, broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. His attorney leaned in, whispering, but Daniel couldn't compose himself. He had been ready for anger, ready for condemnation, but not for forgiveness. Reporters scribbled furiously. Some jurors openly cried. And then, something no one expected happened. The judge, known for his strict demeanor, a man who had presided over hundreds of trials, lowered his head. His lips quivered. He removed his glasses, trying to compose himself, but the tears welled up and spilled over. When he finally spoke, his voice was thick with emotion. "This court has heard many victim impact statements," he said. "But Mrs. Monroe, your courage, your grace, and your forgiveness have touched this court in a way that words cannot describe. Justice will be served today, but your strength is something this courtroom will never forget." The gavel rested silently as the judge delivered the sentence. 15 years in prison for Daniel Rivers. But as powerful as that number was, The real verdict had already been spoken through the words of a grieving mother who chose love over hate. Rebecca Monroe didn't walk away that day with her son. She never would, but she walked away with something else: her dignity, her courage, and the knowledge that Marcus's memory would live on in the way she chose to carry his legacy. As she returned to her seat, the gallery rose, not with applause, not with noise, but in silent respect. It was a moment no one in that courtroom, not even the judge, would ever forget. This wasn't just a sentencing. It wasn't just about a prison term or a legal outcome. It was about humanity breaking through the cracks of tragedy. Rebecca reminded everyone that day, sometimes the most powerful kind of justice isn't found in punishment, but in forgiveness. Not the kind that excuses, but the kind that frees, because in the end, anger can destroy, but forgiveness can change lives, even in a courtroom built for judgment. And on that day, it changed everyone who was there.